Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is me, Jonathan Alexander, and I'm here to host our show, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Today, we're doing just something kind of relaxed show. I have my two co-hosts here, Kelly and Barbara. Are you both there?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Yeah, and I wanted to talk about this because this is something that a lot of times we are, I think for lack of a better word, afraid to be human, or at least afraid to be seen as human. I mean, we really do care about one another. I think that's one thing that all three of us can agree on. And I think sometimes we want to do things for each other, but we realize, oh my God, I mean, I have my limits. You understand? So it's sort of like, and I don't want anybody being made to feel like the victim. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying we're human beings, like, for example, I think that we've been sort of, the goal is to try to do a show every day. This isn't always easy. I mean, we go out and try to find guests. We go out trying to find, people to interview. And it's not always the easiest thing in the world to do. Do either of you ever have any experiences like that where you feel like, wow, this is beginning to be tough?
Yeah.
Well, especially when you're sick. Yes, Kelly, I want you to go first because I was thinking about you so much lately, how it's hard to do anything when you're sick, you have the flu, and to pull it out somewhere. That is hard. So you tell us how you feel.
Thank you. I don't know how I ended up being one of the lucky people to start off the flu season, like, before it officially started with the flu, but I guess, the back-to-school season always seems to come early in Michigan with bringing in the colds and the flus and all that stuff, even though, I started to get this before the weather really changed. And then it was like right when it started to go from, like, the upper and mid-80s down to, like, the mid-70s for, like, highs during the day. At the start of the Labor Day weekend. And it just seemed to coincide with, like, the back to school. Because a lot of places started going back, like, yesterday and today. Some of them went back, like, a week or two before. So a lot of germs are going around. And, it's hard, like, I was really trying to do, like, a chakra day on Saturday, and I felt really bad canceling, and there was no way that I was going to be able to pull that off and have any reserve left whatsoever in myself to repair and try to get through this. And the same with today. And to kind of take you through, like, I know everybody knows what the flu is, but for some reason, like, going to the immunologist, like, I found out my body has cells that when I have the flu or something, it's amplified. Like, the cells will kind of go a little bit nuts with fighting the flu. They start to fight each other, too. So it's like, some people get over the flu in, like, 3 days, but for me, it's very intense, like the whole experience, and it will last a lot longer for me. And, I mean, it's extremely draining. And when I do something like chakras, like, if I'm not sick, it's not too much of a big deal because I can recharge myself by doing different things. And by getting adequate sleep and nutrition and things like that, and, taking a nice salt bath and stuff like that. And usually different techniques, I end up, when I do chakras, I try not to absorb the person's energy, but a lot of times I do, just in the process of doing that. And the other person's energy isn't always going to be good for me, because sometimes they're going through some really stressful stuff, or they have traumas, and I end up absorbing that and like going through that with them. And that doesn't always leave easily. And so that's kind of like, that's one of the dangers of doing this, I guess. But as I am doing this and gaining more experience with it, I'm learning ways to observe it and feel it and let it go so it passes through me and doesn't stick with me. But if I'm sick, then that ability is compromised and it can stick with me. So I really don't want to do that when I'm compromised. And being sick is one of those times. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because then it like sticks to me like glue, and if I'm already like, you know, unable to put up my shield, so to speak, then it's like, well, now I got that hanging on me too, and you know, that makes it a whole lot worse. Whatever I've got going on.
Yes. And then you can't be working at your fullest potential for the person, and I'm sure they appreciate that and they understand, and they could be rescheduled. But still, then you're feeling, okay, not just physical, but you're mentally feeling bad about canceling, and I know how that feels. It's just another thing on top of being sick. So I think that's why Johnny wants to do the show so badly, to show you and the listeners that it's okay. We are only human, and it is okay.
Yeah, because I really hate letting someone down, but, you know, I know that if I'm not up to it and I do it anyway, not only am I not going to do a good job for them, but it's going to hurt me because I'm not going to be doing as well as I should be to be able to protect myself. So that's going to make me sicker longer too. And I don't want to give.
And, you know, I was going to say something. You know, it's like what happened was that Kelly, in the beginning, Kelly would do my chakras, and then when I had her on as a co-host, you know, I started having her on as a co-host. I said, well, Kelly, you know, I never really thanked you for all the chakra cleanse. So I figured that, you know, maybe having you on the show is a nice way of thanking you. There were other reasons I had you on, but you understand I have to have you on as a co-host. But that was one of the reasons. And then you said, well, you sure picked a heck of a way to thank me. But see, the problem is that this is what this has done in the past, is that in a way, I guess, you know, in a way, because of that feeling, you know, that, you know, like, you know, it has inadvertently in times caused you to overexert yourself. Like, Kelly has done my chakras, and then, you know, the next day, you know, it's like, and she did it because, you know, she realizes, like, to her, it's sort of like, you know, oh my God, well, I should do something. He needs my help. But at the same time, you know, I certainly don't want Kelly to feel like this is a boulder that she has to push, simply because, you know, she's going to feel guilty if she does. Does that make sense, Barbara?
Of course that does. And that's what I totally understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like knowing somebody really needs my help, and, you know, what am I going to say? No. I mean, it's like, it's really hard to say no.
I understand. And that's the thing. I mean, it's been, you know, like one time we were talking about doing the chakra cleanse, and you said, no, Johnny, I love you enough to sacrifice myself, meaning that you were, Jackie told me that, Barbara. And I'm thinking to myself, don't do that. This is not, you don't have to lift something over your head that you cannot lift. Okay? I know it's sweet. It's sweet that you want to do things for us, Kelly, but you don't. I think that we try to do shows every day because, we have to, but some days we're just human beings. And, it's okay. I think you have sort of sometimes I think you have sort of a Mother Teresa thing where you want to help everybody. It's sort of that thing,
If I could, I would. I would do this, I would go without sleep, and I would do this 24/7 if I could. I really would, if I could. But that would be
do chakra days.
Yeah, I would do this 24/7 if I could, honestly. But I don't know anybody. I would have to turn into a giraffe because they're the only animal I know that can go 20 minutes to 2 hours, and that's all the sleep they need for 24 hours.
Wow. That's interesting. That's an interesting fact.
I know.
Oh, yes.
I understand that you're really kind of,
I kept saying, let's just cancel. Let's not have a show. Because I wouldn't want to do it if I had the flu at all. So even those couple times that you did do it, and you've only missed one and you still had the flu. And maybe you still have it because you did do those beginning shows when you had the flu. So we're just here to say we're only human. We understand that you canceled and you had to cancel one of the chakra cleanses. And it's not that big of a deal at all.
Yeah.
It's not like these people were in some emergency state anyway, So, they could talk to Johnny privately if they need to be counseled.
Audra Lynn said, when I told her, she goes, oh boy, I hope Kelly gets better soon. That's what she said. As soon as I told her that you were sick,
so
she said that. That's what she said. She goes, I hope she gets better soon. And it's I think you need to understand, Kelly, it's okay to say I can't do this. You're a human, and it's okay. And I think a lot of people, I don't think another reason why I wanted to talk about this on the air, there are some people that have an uninformed idea of what it is that you do, Kelly. They may think, well, it's just a string in a pendulum. How complicated could it be? They're gonna think, it's a string and a pendulum. How complicated could it be? How much energy could
sounds fine.
They're gonna say, you might as well get exhausted fishing. It's well, when you really think about it, they might think that doing chakras is a lot like fishing, which but the point is that there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we talked about it because unless you do that kind of thing, you don't know. And so I'm glad that we talked about it. And I come from a family that basically, unless you're in the hospital, you go to work, and it's like you're either on your deathbed or you're at work. So it's like really, it's hard to, be in this position and actually call into work. But it's like, if I'm standing up and I'm dizzy and I don't feel safe to take a shower or I don't feel safe to get behind the wheel of the car, I'm calling in. I'm not going to work.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny because I was just thinking this thought. One of these days, I hope I win the lottery, and then what I'll do is I'll buy you and Barbara hot tubs, and then you can do the show from the hot tub. Now, that'll still be work.
And then nobody will hear us over the motor and the bubbles.
That'll still be work, That'll still be work, but you'll be able to do it from a hot tub. If you're going to do work, you might as well do it from a hot tub.
Oh, well, you know what would be better is just hire a on-call massage therapist, and then we could, we could do that from a massage therapy session. Except, how relaxing would that be? Actually, if it was that relaxing, I would be sleeping. So I don't think I'd be doing much talking.
I can imagine. When you're healing somebody's chakras, you've got to be sitting up, you've got to be working your tools, you've got to be doing extra thought processes. You've got to be exuding a tremendous amount of energy towards it. And when I have the flu or a cold, my head is plugged up. Or if I'm sick to my stomach with the flu, I am not feeling like exuding a lot of extra energy. And in fact, that is detrimental to you. So we would never, you know what, we should just make a new pact that, yes, let's do a show every day as long as we all are healthy.
Oh, that sounds good. I like that. Yeah.
Okay. And if
I have
we're
a
not,
question, though.
then we'll reconsider.
Okay.
I have a question. I have a
good.
question. It's sort of funny. What was I going to say? Yes, I know what it was. I remember something. This actually happened before you came along, Barbara. But Tessa, you remember Tessa? We've had her on the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she interviewed Kelly, and I saw this, and I immediately thought, is Kelly going to be okay? Tessa had her on her show, and she was doing chakra cleanses, like one right after the other, like about 4 or 5. And it got me thinking, is Kelly going to be okay? And the next day, remember Kelly? You remember how you felt?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a good idea to try to, do something that's going to...
It was a 3-hour show, but it had, little breaks. But it was a 3-hour show, and it was in Pacific time, so it went from my time, midnight to 3 a.m., and then there's an after party, so it went to, 6 a.m.
Oh, my gosh.
Snap. Yeah. And that was interesting, because that was on a Saturday night, so it took me all of Sunday to recover.
Wow. Yeah, and you were doing all your other jobs, too, on top of that.
Yeah. Monday was a real interesting one.
Wow.
So, yeah. But,
taking a toll, physically and mentally. So then you're just bent, and then you're just like, hey, there's nothing left in me, you guys.
Yeah,
I always knew. I know that, Kelly. I knew that this would be too much during the flu. I just could imagine it. I mean, Johnny says the listeners may not imagine that, but I did. I imagined this is going to be too much. Not with the flu. No way. Mm-mm.
Right. They may think, it's like fishing. I mean, how hard can it be to fish? Well, this isn't exactly fishing.
I just thought of something. It's basically like working out your body. Do you work your body out when you have the flu? No. But this is like a mind workout. So it's really not that much different. Mm-mm.
That's true.
It's bad for you, actually. You're not supposed to exude that much energy. I mean, you're supposed to get lots of rest, extra rest, and this certainly is not resting. You don't do chakras from your bed rest.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the show, I can, recline a little bit, and talk, but the chakras, no, it doesn't work like that.
And even the guided meditation, too. I was surprised that you pulled that one off so well. That was just That's a lot of energy too.
And I want to say to everybody, I want to say to everybody about the guided meditations. I've never told Kelly to do a guided meditation that would wear her out. I mean, we've always, I've always told Kelly. I told Kelly before that show. I said, Kelly, do what you can. Okay. I mean, you don't have to. If you take cold medicine before the show, we don't want you like passing out in the middle of the. I mean, this is not. I guess what I'm going to say is again, this is not a slave ship. So nobody's going to put you in a headlock. We're not going to. This isn't like some math test that you have to take when you have 103 fever. Nobody's going to do that to you. If you belong in bed with your head on a pillow, you go put your head on a pillow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I do this a little bit. I've done this kind of meditation for my daughter to get her to sleep, especially yesterday, because last night was the night before her first day of school, which was today. And I just lay with her for 5 minutes and talk to her as a mom and rub her back and get her to calm down and say nice things. And you're going to have a wonderful day. And, a really light tone. And 5 minutes into that, I'm worn out. I want to fall asleep too to my own talk. So I totally get it. And you go for a long time on your guided meditation. Sometimes I don't even know, where do you get the energy when you're totally healthy?
Oh, I don't even know how I do that either. It just kind of flows, and then I'm like, oh, wow, okay.
Really, I will say this. Sometimes we can really surprise ourselves. I'm not saying overexert yourself, but we do surprise ourselves. Remember how, Kelly, the very first day, the other day, I listened to the very first chakra day because I was thinking in my mind, I was like thinking, Kelly, when you're listening to this, you think Kelly's never done this before. I mean, what must be going through her mind? And I realized that at the end of the day, we said, we're going to do some more chakra days. And then you said, yes, I would love to. I love helping people. And I thought, you remember that, Kelly?
Oh, I do now, yeah.
And you said, yes. And I mean, did you say that because you were enjoying it so much, or did you say that because it was what came out?
Oh. Yeah, I said it without even thinking because of both.
It was kind of a shocking thing for you, is what it was.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that you were going to ask me to come back for one thing, but yeah, I love helping people, and I enjoy doing that.
Kind of like you had an awakening.
Yeah. I've had several now. It's really incredible. And
that's funny. You didn't think I was going to ask you back. I can't believe that.
Well, I mean, you just never know. It could be like, 5 months down the road, you have me back on. I mean, I don't know.
I had you back the next day, Kelly.
Yeah, I lucked out. But
I mean, somebody
like,
called in the middle of the chakra cleanse wanting theirs done, and then I would say you lucked out. I mean, it was,
Yeah, you're having a medium on? What? Can I come on? And, can I call in? Yeah. So.
Well, we want to keep it that way to where you always feel like you lucked out.
Oh, good, because I do every day. I feel like I lucked out. And I keep lucking out. That's really cool. And then when you came on board, I lucked out again. I keep lucking out.
Oh, you're so sweet. I thought about you today, too, because, that one conversation that we had a long time ago, one of our first shows about school, and it was one of those times that somebody canceled or somebody didn't call in that was supposed to, and we started talking about school days. And Priscilla, she had her first day of school, and it was her first day at a new school, so it was so sad because it didn't really go very well. And I felt her pain when she came home and told me that. I just was like, I had to lay down. I mean, a mother's love, it's like you feel your child's pain, even though they're trying to act tough, like it's okay, but, you know, nobody talked to them, and they're so used to having so many friends, and they sit alone at the lunch table, and you just imagine that, and it's like all day today was just hoping that it would go well, and
she didn't give any lollipops away.
It didn't go well. She's not going to just go up to a person who's just sitting there ignoring her and say, here, do you want a lollipop? I mean, she's 12. So, no, she didn't give any lollipops away, but I think that will come maybe hopefully in a few days. So, yeah, it's very hard. I had to do that. My first day of my first change of a school was in 4th grade, or maybe it was 5th grade, can't remember right now, but I wouldn't go in. I would not go in the room. I stood outside. My mom had left, dropped me off. I knew where I was supposed to go, and I would not go in. And that actually turned out to be a blessing because this girl came up to me and asked me if I was lost. She said, "Are you lost, little girl?" And I said, "No, I'm supposed to be in there, and I don't want to go in there." She goes, "Well, do you want to sit by me?" And I go, "Okay, sure." And then that girl is still my best friend to this day.
Oh.
Yeah. Is she
so I lucked out.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
No, she's not. She doesn't do any social media. She is not into it whatsoever. She's the youngest of 10 children. She doesn't want to be found, but we are so close. And she's lived in LA. She's lived in Nashville. I went to Nashville to be a flight attendant. She came the next year. We played polo together on horses. And then I moved to LA when I did Playboy, and she came another year later, and she had a little boy when she was 18 years old. So she was a single mom from very early age, and she followed me out to LA and lived out there for about 6 years. Now she's in Florida. I'm here, but we're so close. But if I would have gone right in, who knows? It would have changed the course of time. And so I tell Priscilla these little stories, and I just feel it that it's going to happen. I feel something like that's going to happen. And Karen Page said that would happen, that she would find 2, I think, good friends this year, but it didn't happen today. And I wasn't thinking, she's going to find her best friend today, but maybe to talk to a friend or talk to a person at least. And so it just really broke my heart, and I had to lay down. I physically felt sick and tired from that news when I picked her up at 2:30. I physically am sick from it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I know that down the road, when the teachers, put maybe a group of kids together and they work on a project, or they start PE and they play together, ball or dodgeball or whatever, then, they start making friends. And I was trying to tell her that
how
today.
Old is
but
Priscilla?
12. She just started 7th grade in a brand new school, first day today.
Oh, so 7th grade is when they already know each other from 6th grade the year before. So
yeah, it's middle
she's
school.
So she's the one that everybody knows each other except for her. Yeah.
Nobody accepted her. Not one person looked at her or acknowledged her whatsoever. And she sat there alone on a break on the bench next to them. They didn't even look at her. And she sat alone eating her sandwich at the lunch table, and nobody acknowledged her. And, gosh, I don't even know how she didn't cry. I mean, I'm almost crying right now.
Oh, that's awful.
I know. And she's just such a wonderful, funny, like she's so funny and outgoing, and she always makes friends. And she made friends the first day, but that was 2 years ago. And I think when kids are 9, 10, it's different than when they're 12. And I know it's going to change. I know she will make friends eventually, but until then, my heart is broken.
Yeah. Wow.
Mhm.
Are there extracurriculars that she can sign up for, and then maybe, find some teammates?
No, because she did the elective, which is 3 different subjects in 1 year. And so some children, they'll pick band, and she chose to do 3. So it's whatever. She's never really wanted to do band like you and me, Kelly, and she's never wanted to do a team sport, even though she's tried pretty much every single one of them. She just likes horses, which is a singular type of thing, and she likes art, and she's taking Spanish. And she goes, well, there were a couple of nice girls, but they didn't speak English.
Oh.
I go, that's good, actually. That's good because, you're never going to be that good at a foreign language if you aren't challenged and try to speak it with somebody who doesn't speak English, and then you can help them too. But that didn't even cheer her up.
Aww.
And then there was, I go, well,
there were 9
weren't
kids
there
today
any?
who didn't speak English? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's right. But also, all of the kids were nice. They just didn't direct any niceness to her way. And it's not like they were mean. And then they were all happy to see each other because they knew each other from the previous year. But then there was 4 kids that were new. And I go, oh, good. Did you try to talk to them? They were boys. They were all boys. So that made it a little awkward. Unfortunately, there were no other new girls. Yeah. But I'm sure it will change. I just hope it does soon.
Is there like a art club or a yearbook committee or something like that?
I've asked about that, but she says she's not into that either. And I don't know. Her sports are swimming, and that's outside of school. So horses and swimming are both out of school. So we'll see what they have, and hopefully something will. I think that when they start doing PE and they play together, that's when you really start to bond.
Yeah, that's when you get to know each other's names and, hey, I'm open over here, so-and-so, and yeah.
Mhm. And then you're in the locker room, and then you're like, oh, did you get some new pants? Or, oh, I like your tennis shoes. They're the same as mine. Stuff like that. But when you have to be in class and you're listening to the teacher, and so, but also it could be that she's just down and not too open right now to talk to me about every little thing. But at least she wasn't crying, and at least nobody was mean to her. So that's a plus.
Yeah. And she probably misses her friends from back, in Gilbert.
I just feel so guilty because I'm the one who moved her, and but you know what? On the ride home, she told me all of that, and then she goes, "I love you, Mom."
Aww.
So she's not holding it against me personally for moving her. Yeah, that's good. So my whole thing with today was emotional. It was emotional down, not physical sickness, but so I wanted to tell the listeners that sometimes emotions can weigh us down so much. And it happens to us, your co-host, that's just being part of being human. And then we have to keep thinking everything happens for a reason. Like what happened where I met my best friend. I mean, some people never have a friend like I have in Jennifer their whole life. And if I wouldn't have moved, if my parents didn't move and make me move to a new school, I would never have had her. And, so many years of close friendship with her. There's no price tag for that. So everything happens for a reason. Karen Page says that a lot, and I truly believe it. So we just have to stay optimistic and pray and meditate and manifest. I'm going to manifest a friend for her. And good news, though, today I got a new manager.
Wow.
Person they saw me on social media, and they had been looking for somebody who they thought would be good to manage as far as building my brand and getting me my own business.
What happened to your other manager?
I never have had one for years. I had a manager since I was like in my 20s. So that's good. I've had agents.
Oh.
And he knows about the show? The manager knows about the show?
Yes, and I sent him about 4 links to some shows. So that was good, and he liked them a lot. So that's really good.
Yeah.
I think that, these people who are in that business, it's fun for them to take somebody that they think can do more and then do it and help them. I think that's just in the manager. It's different than an agent. The agent gets you your castings, auditions, things like that, but they're also getting them for everybody else. So a manager is taking it one step further to where they're looking at the whole path and the whole future and it's just more detailed and it's more personal. It's a more personal one-on-one thing. So I like that, and I actually was manifesting that, and I was thinking about it. This is what I need. And somebody on the show that we've worked with before said that I needed that, and excuse me, started manifesting it, and it came today.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Gives you a little more skip in your step.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, and that
Do you think your manager,
manufacturing.
What's the name of your manager?
Just a minute, you guys. I'm on the verge of coughing. Hold on. I put it on mute. If you talk a long time, you get a little tickle in your throat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, excuse me. Oh, my gosh. I'd rather just not tell the whole world right now his name because it's my private business, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I just don't want to right now. And I've never done that. I've never, announced to the world my managers when I had them before.
But I
even had
aren't this
one that was Holly Berry's manager was my manager, and I never told anybody that.
Oh, okay.
Huh. What was that? I'll
Okay.
tell you guys, but not on the air.
I understand. You understand.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, Kelly, after you do a chakra day, I mean, is it easier to go to sleep?
It depends. Sometimes it winds me up for a little bit. Sometimes it drains me and it helps me sleep. Sometimes, I don't know. It depends. There's a lot of factors with my sleep. So it depends. It depends on a lot
How
of
do you
different
normally
things.
sleep? Are you a good sleeper, Kelly? How many hours do you need?
It varies. I think now that I'm on the metformin for the insulin resistance, I think I'm going to be requiring a lot less. But we're not sure if there's anything else going on as far as like the cells that are possibly trying to attack each other at times. But I think, you know, the insulin resistance was kind of a big deal that wasn't being addressed for a long time. So I'm glad they're back on track with that medicine, because I think that's going to be helping me out, like, big time, getting me back on track. Because I had it in my early 20s, and I was on the metformin for it, and then, like, when that doctor retired and I got a different one, they said, oh, you don't need that, and they took me off, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then,
oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, and then they said, well, we have this other blood test, it's better, and they said, your blood sugar is normal, and I said, well, it was normal before, but you have to do a glucose tolerance test, and they said, well, those are old, we don't do those anymore, and it's like, but it doesn't show up with the A1C, and they just kept sweeping it under the rug. No, you're fine. No, you're fine. It's like, no, I'm not. So finally,
Wow.
you know, yeah. So, and it's one of those weird things that it got lost in the paper files, and when they went to digital, there, you know, it's lost in some vault somewhere in a hospital. So, you know, finally they put me back on it after like 10 years of being off of it, and slowly feeling more like crap. And so in about a week or so, I'm imagining I'm going to start feeling better than I have in a very long time. I'm looking forward to that once I get over the stupid flu.
I know, and then you were just feeling better from it, and then you get the flu, which you can't really tell what's going on with your body when you have the flu.
Exactly. So in about a week,
goodness.
I should be dancing on the ceiling.
Yeah. At least you'll be done with the flu, because people don't usually get the flu twice in one season, do they?
I would hope not. I mean, it depends on how many mutations are out there, and if you've had it before, but gosh, I would hope not. No, when I'm done with this, I'm going to get the flu shot and hopefully be done with it.
You know, I had one time I got the 24-hour flu, and it was so miserable, water, and I would throw up. And then I told myself, there was this at the grocery store. There was this grape juice. It really tasted really good, and so the next day I was fine. You know, it didn't nothing. It was just gone. It was a dead virus. You know, I mean, I was fine. I woke up, and I went downstairs and I said, "Mom," and she goes, "Yes." I have a request for you. Being that I've beaten death, would you mind buying grape juice at the grocery store? I actually said those words. I said, because seriously, I mean, I just wanted to get some grape juice in my system and drink it. I actually used the words, I've beaten death. I've beaten it. You know, because that's what it felt like. I knew it wasn't going to be forever. You know.
Wow. It does feel like that, though.
I'm too afraid to get the flu shot because I feel like I might get the flu from the flu shot.
I don't know.
How can you get the flu for the flu shot?
Because they give you a little bit of the flu in the flu shot. You build the antibodies up to it. And I hear that people get a little fluish from the flu shot. Is that not true?
I don't think so.
I thought that was only if they were starting to get the flu anyway, because they give you the dead virus.
Well, maybe I should get it this year.
Yeah. And, you know, people that get the flu, it's only if they, you know, because they don't necessarily give you every strain that's going around in the flu shot. So if you end up getting sick later, it could be a version that wasn't in the flu shot.
That's what I've heard, too. Well, everybody does their own thing. You know, what they feel that they can do. But I just don't haven't felt like I have gotten the flu that bad since I've been a child. I have never gotten the flu again where I have thrown up for years. Years.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You have a really good immune system.
I mean, I get colds, though, and those are horrible, where your just head is stuffy and you get, like, a sore throat. And that always just takes 5 days. But you know what? My dad said that nobody could just get sick for 3 days. It takes 5 days for the virus to actually go through your whole system. So it just does take that long.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you this question. I forgot to ask this. I thought you said your father was coming down for the beginning of school.
Yes, and the day before yesterday, he said he couldn't make it. He has a heat stroke again. Yeah, over in Arizona. And I have to realize, because he was telling me, you know, he's getting older and things aren't as easy for him anymore. And that's why it's taken him so long to move here, because he wanted to move over to this area too. And he is getting older, and some people age differently. He really took a toll on himself when he was a pilot for 45 years. And it took a toll on him. And, you know, he is mid-70s now. So I can't expect out of him what he used to give. And for him just to come down for one first day of school, and it was disappointing, though. It really was. And I do miss him. So, but he got heat stroke last summer, and he was in Circle K trying to buy a drink, and he collapsed, and the ambulance had to come to Circle K.
Oh, my God.
So they say once you have heat stroke, you're more prone to get it. He said he's having some heat sickness right now. So I'm glad he just stayed there and didn't push it too much. I don't want anything to happen to him. And I'm very sad because, you know what, I spent a lot of time preparing this place, even though he was going to stay in a motel. That's just what he does. Still, he would have been over here, and I had it prepared so beautifully for him. It's all right. But I did put a lot of effort into it.
Aw.
So I guess I'm down about that, too.
Yeah. Man, the first time I had it was at an air show as a kid. That is no joke, having heat stroke. Man.
What do you feel like?
Lightheaded, you throw up, you pass out after you get super dizzy, and you can't comprehend what's going on. Like, you lose track of where you are and what's happening, and then you just pass out.
Very dangerous. You can, and your heartbeat slows down. Oh, yeah. They said his pulse was very, very low. That's very dangerous. You get very close to death.
Yeah. It's like you get so hot, but then you don't sweat.
Oh.
Like at a certain point.
And that happened at an air show, huh?
Yeah, it was in the upper 90s or something, and there was like no breeze, and we were in the hot sun.
I'm sensitive to heat too. You know, we used to have to shoot in these horrible circumstances sometimes. One time we were, I don't know if I'd rather be hot or cold, but I think cold. I was in Chicago, and obviously you know how that is in the summertime. It's hot, and I was modeling outside wool coats, wool sweaters, and wool coats. Oh my gosh, was that ever miserable. It's like you have to just kind of block it out somehow. And I think when you're young, you can do that a little better. But then there was the time in December when we were working on Baywatch, and you're in swimming suits, and everybody else is in parkas with gloves. What about on this one shoot? I remember Echo and I were on it. We were modeling, like, it was called Wet and Wild, Playboy's Wet and Wild video, and we were modeling next to large ice like I would all call them an iceberg because it's not an ice cube. I mean, 7-foot tall ice slabs that we are next to wearing nothing, and everybody had a parka on and gloves in some warehouse, and we're doing this for hours.
How did you not get like frostbitten?
I don't know. I mean, she was in tears. She wanted to go, and I'm just like, block it out, just block it out. It's almost over. I don't know. And you not only that, but your face has to look like you're enjoying. You're enjoying it, and you have to have a pleasant look on your face. And
oh my God,
that was horrible. And one time we were doing this. This one was fun and easy. We were doing this bubble session, probably for Wet and Wild too, obviously. And we were in a laundromat, a real laundromat, and we were all of this. These lights were up and wires everywhere, and we're on top of the washing machines and with bubbles and suds everywhere. I put my hand down to prop myself up in a certain pose. I was zapped. I was electrocuted off of that thing.
Oh my gosh.
My whole
you needed hazard pay.
I know. My whole body was zapped all the way through. And I just, thank goodness it was slippery because I slipped right off. Oh my gosh, I was electrocuted. So, yeah, there was a lot of hazards. There is hazards. We go through a lot. People don't realize what we go through sometimes.
Wow. No kidding. Wow.
Mhm.
I mean, they look so fun in the pictures, but wow, my goodness, you have no idea.
I know. It does look fun.
Oh my God. You have no idea that you're really thinking, get this off of me or get this shoot over with.
Oh, and not to mention the poses, and your lower back is just killing you from like doing that arch pose for all day long. Oh my gosh. And your feet, your balls of your feet with those high heels. I mean, that's nothing compared to the iceberg photo shoot and that swimming in the ocean in December. But I mean, the Pacific Ocean gets pretty cold. It's always cold to me. I will not do it. You guys, I will not even go in the ocean anymore because of the trauma I had to deal with that, the shoots and the Baywatch and all that. I always loved going over to Florida and modeling there. But, you know, it's different because the sun's different. And, I mean, you have the afternoon beautiful glow, but, you know, the sunrise, so beautiful here. It's just different there, but at least it was warm.
Yeah, there's a difference between 40 and 50 degree water and 80, 90 degree water and 40 degree, 30 degree water. I mean, my goodness, 20 degrees.
Yes.
I couldn't even imagine.
You know what? I did do one shoot. I was sick for Playboy. I'm sure I was kind of sick on other ones, but I remember this one so well. But, oh, my gosh, you do not want to cancel that because that's your one and only time to maybe, like, you're doing a cover. And then if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it that day. You know what I mean? They don't just hold it for you. And I just had to do this one calendar shoot with a major swollen glands and sore throat and fever. And I acted like I was okay. But it was really hard that day. Ooh. Really hard. Mhm.
Oh, you're like, okay, put on the I'm not dying face. Okay, let's pretend to really be enjoying this now.
But one time I did have dehydration, and it was on the Reba McEntire shoot, the night the lights went out in Georgia. And that was a big deal for me to do that in Nashville. And she's a big star. It was a 2-day shoot. And I was on the way there in the van with people I didn't know, like the production crew and the other actors. And I just said, you got to pull over. I'm paralyzed. I couldn't feel my limbs. They had to get me out on the shoulder of the road. I'm like, just walk me around. I can't feel my limbs because I had the wisdom teeth pulled out, And then the medicine, I had a bad reaction to the medicine, and then I threw up the whole night before, and so I was depleted of any kind of liquid in my body at all that day. And they had to call the ambulance. How embarrassing, right? And they had to call the ambulance on the freeway. They took me away to the hospital. Then they went and did that part of the shoot. The producer came to call the hospital. I was still there. They had to put like 4 bags of, usually it takes 1 and you're okay, 4 bags of liquid in me, and I was on this IV all day, like out like a light, trying to reach my boyfriend. He was working on his boat that day, and nobody even knew I was in the hospital except for the producer. He thought that my boyfriend thought I was shooting all day. And so, yeah, and then they came back after the shoot, and I was still there. They said, ask the doctor, can she work tomorrow? And he said, yes. And I did, but they did hold that spot for me, thank goodness. And they were able to work around that. But isn't that horrible? Like what we go through sometimes.
Wow, yeah. Wow. And
so if we don't
realize.
So if we don't have to go through that, like in your case, Kelly, like you don't have to be put through the ringer on this, and that's so sweet of Johnny to make it such a big point to tell you, no, stop the show. She can't do it. It's too much. I mean, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I mean, they shouldn't have made me do some of the things I had to do under those circumstances. I mean, that was ridiculous. We really could have gotten frostbite, or I could have died being electrocuted. And I mean, I could have had heat stroke in that wool sweater and coat, you know?
Yeah, but you figure that this is your chance, this is your opportunity, and they're not thinking along those lines, and they figure, well, if you don't do it, we'll get somebody that does, and you're thinking, this is my opportunity, this is my chance, if I don't do it, I'm not going to get paid, but, so you're also thinking, this is my time to do this, and you can't say no.
Right. Yeah, they'll do it on their deathbed.
Yeah.
Inspiring motto, will do anything on their deathbed.
Right. Wow. Yeah, people don't realize what you have to go through. And it's, there are things that people are subjected to that people don't realize, and unless people talk about it. And, I'm sure, movie sets are a lot similar, especially when people don't have a stunt double, and even stunt doubles, well, they know what they're signing up for, but not always actors and actresses know what they're going to end up, they might break a leg or an arm or something, and there are actors.
That's
but
right.
You think modeling would be safe, it's modeling. You're in front of a camera. You're not doing a dangerous stunt. Well, maybe you are.
People have no idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is easy, and sometimes it is fun, and sometimes it's wonderful. Most of the time it is, though. But sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, I remember in Barbados, we were standing there, and we were in shin-deep water shooting a catalog, and rocks were just raking our shin bones. Just, the waves were just like hitting, the rocks were just like hitting our legs, and they did not care. They just cared about their shot that they needed to get.
Oh. That would be awful.
That hurt.
Oh. And then you'd have, at the very least, bruises you'd have to recover from.
Forgot about that one. Now that we're talking about it, because this show is about our, what is it called, Johnny? Trials and tribulations, or how it is to work when you're down. What is this show called again?
We were talking about, it's just talking to one another, but I think it was meant to be how we handle it, doing something when things are tough.
Yeah.
Well, one time in soccer, when I was a kid, these boys, because it was co-ed, I was in elementary school, and these boys had tripped me on purpose and then proceeded to stomp on my stomach as they trampled over me. And the coach was like, stay down. And I'm thinking, nope, I'm going to get back up. And they did, even though that hurt so bad. Did I get, so I was like, I am not going to stay down. And so I was in defense. So I decided I was going to go after those boys and show them they couldn't do that to me. So I went after the ball the next time, and I accidentally, on purpose, and I'm not proud of this part, but it kind of got my point through, went after the ball and kicked the boy as hard as I could in the shin as I went to get the ball away. He stayed down.
He couldn't get back up.
Nope.
Good.
I mean, they were vicious. It was like two of them that, they went to take me out, and they were stomping on my stomach. So I figured,
that's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah.
I know this is the stuff that I think about, happening to my little girl, but the rules, thank goodness the rules are so much stricter at school about bullying and touching and no hugging rule and things like that. So at least we have that going on. But even, sometimes verbal hurts worse even.
Yeah.
Or alienation can really hurt, like what she experienced. I don't think they were doing it on purpose, but it's like she felt alienated today, and that breaks my heart.
Yeah. I don't think it was on purpose from the way you're saying it, but still, I mean, usually if you see a kid being left out, it's like, hey, what's your name? Do you seem like you're new here?
Right.
Just reaching out,
That's what I always did to the underdog, and nobody wanted to sit with them on the bus. I would say, here, sit with me. And then 20 years later at your high school reunion, they come up to you and they say thank you because they remember it. Don't they, Kelly?
Yeah.
They remember some nice gesture that meant so much to them. And that's what we should stress to kids and parents. Just talk to your kids. And if you see that, go and help that person feel more comfortable. It's their first day. Go help them. Doesn't take much effort.
Yeah, trying to notice things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're about out of time, but thank you both for coming on the show. And thanks for doing the show.
Well, there's a birthday shout out. Sorry to interrupt, but you reminded me today. Terry Lynn Doss's birthday. She's part of the community. She's been on the show several times before I came along. Happy birthday, Terry Lynn.
Happy birthday. Yay.
Happy birthday, Terry Lynn.
Okay, I'll call her now. I'm going to call her.
Good, thank you.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Love you guys. Love
Thanks,
you guys.
everyone.
Feel better.
Love you.